All roads come to ends, and this one has come to the end with the defending champs. We're going to go on the 405, and that's going to back you up just as much as a Dodger dog will back you up. It's the defending champion Los Angeles Dodgers. Our final stop on our spring training tours. Vegas Mack in the co-pilot seat as always. What is going on, Mack? We are close.
We are so close to opening day. We're getting there. I can't wait. I'm working on my predictions. I'm working on my all that stuff. I'm going to get a good night's sleep, and can't wait for opening day to get started.
8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific tomorrow. Our preview show will air on our YouTube and Facebook channels. Make sure you follow us at Mike Arano Show. TJ not with us tonight. We're trying to dig him out of mothballs for tomorrow. Maybe he'll join us. But go ahead and follow us at Mike Arano Show on all social channels except for Snapchat, because we're not 12 and Snapchat sucks. Mac, we've gotten to this point. It's the defending champs, and on paper, they are the champs. And why would we even play the season? We'll get into that. But I cannot go any further because for one last time in the spring training tours, my man, lead us off. Your first thoughts on the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Did the Los Angeles Dodgers do enough in the offseason for another Hollywood ending?
Did they do enough? Again, we said this a couple weeks ago when we talked about the Diamondbacks. Like, if, all the chatter was, the Dodgers are ruining baseball because they're spending money and this, that, and the other thing. And I said it during that show, and I think a lot of people thought I was joking. Like, no, you can blame the Diamondbacks for why the Dodgers have broken banks everywhere and Brinks trucks everywhere, because it was after the Diamondbacks bounced the Dodgers a couple of years ago that the Dodgers said, all right, enough's enough, and we're going to do this because we can. And unpopular opinion to a lot of people, I have no problem with the Dodgers doing what they're doing. Tomorrow night, I'll have some thoughts on why I think Rob Manfred needs to not worry about a salary cap, maybe worry about some of these teams that aren't doing a damn thing. But you don't blame the Dodgers for doing what they did.
I mean, they want to win a World Series again. I mean, that's what they want to do. I mean, isn't that what we want our teams to do? I mean, how frustrating is it when we feel as though our team is close and they do absolutely nothing? And we've talked about a lot of absolutely nothing and with a lot of these teams. And it's just got to be really frustrating as a fan for those teams that just don't do anything. And here's the Dodgers. I mean, they're just, you don't want this starter? Well, we'll take this starter. You don't want this outfielder? We'll take this outfielder. I mean, again, you're 100% correct. I'm like, I can't blame them for anything that they're doing. They're just trying to build a team to win another World Series, and maybe they've done it.
Yeah, maybe they have. And I'm kind of interested to see the numbers as they come in here early in the season before we dive into the nuts and bolts of this Dodgers roster, which is extensive because they have the best of the best everywhere. I'm kind of interested to see the opening day numbers for Dodgers Tigers. I mean, Tarek Skubal on the bump for the Tigers. Like, I'm really interested to see how baseball fans kind of approach this season. I mean, there's seam heads, if you will, like us that love the game and love the sport, and opening day is so exciting for us. And then I think we're going to get a real good gauge here early for a lot of people that are like, well, why am I going to watch? Because I know the Dodgers are just going to dominate anything. I'm interested to see TV numbers early. I think the Dodgers are always going to be kind of a must-see thing, But I'm interested to see the numbers for the other teams and how many people are just like, you know what, screw it. I mean, my team can't compete with the Dodgers. Why would I even watch?
Well, and I think it's one of those things too. I mean, we you go with the old analogy. The Dodgers, they have a pretty big target on their back right now, and everyone's going to give them their best. I mean, every series they play, whether they go and play Detroit or whether they play Miami or whether they play Colorado, I mean, those teams are all looking to take a piece out of the Dodgers. I mean, that's just the way that it is. I mean, everywhere they go, they're going to draw well because everybody wants to see. Everyone wants to see Ohtani. What does Sasaki look like? What is this great Dodgers team actually? What do they look like? So I mean, they're always a big draw anyway, but even more so now that they're the champs. And again, whoever they play. That's as you said, must see because those teams are going to want to beat them. That's the measuring stick. The Dodgers right now are Major League Baseball's measuring stick.
Yeah, and the Dodgers will open again, like I said, against the Tigers. It'll be Tarek Skubal and new Dodger Blake Snell will be game 1 there. In game 2 of that series, the Tigers have not named a starter yet against Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And then on Sunday, when that series wraps up, it's going to be, again, undecided. The Tigers are still figuring out their rotation against Roki Sasaki. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see how everything lays out. Let's jump right in our normal order here, Mac. Let's go to the pitching of the Los Angeles Dodgers. And we've kind of banged this drum all spring training tour long of teams that have 6-man rotations. And you wouldn't think that the Dodgers, with as much money as they've spent and deferred, would have a 6-man rotation. The Dodgers have a lot of question marks pitching wise and a lot of guys that are not ready to go right away. Tony Gonsolin on the 15, Clayton Kershaw, who re-signed on the 60, Emmett Sheehan, Gavin Stone. We can go down the list as long as we want to. But when you look at the Dodgers starting pitchers and rotation, they could go 12 deep if everybody was healthy. So I'm very interested to see what Dave Roberts does with this pitching staff because he's got a lot of options.
Yeah, he does. It's kind of funny. You start looking down. It's you get to the 4th spot. And you go. Usually the 4th starter. We always have to do a little bit of work. And there's Tyler Glasnow. Oh, okay. Yeah. Their 5th starter can't be. Oh, it's May. Oh, that's right. You know what? We haven't even talked about Ohtani yet. And excuse me. I mean, we don't know what he's going to be from a pitching standpoint, but I mean, this is a good, solid rotation. And like you said, we could take the rotation that they have that's on the IL, and it's probably better than a good percentage of teams that are going to put the regular starting rotation out there. I mean, again, that's how deep they are. So, I mean, it's good. I mean, for the Dodgers and Dave Roberts, I mean, it doesn't matter what guy he calls on what day, whether he decides on pitching 4, 5, 6, 7, or 10, he really can't make the wrong call.
Yeah, and I mean, that's exactly it. I mean, what do you say when you're breaking down the Dodgers here? I mean, again, like you just perfectly put, the Dodgers have an IL starting rotation that a lot of teams would kill for right now. And we've spent a lot of time, and I know we will tomorrow night when we do the preview show for the season, like of teams that are like, we get to 4, we might have a 5th. The Dodgers, let's just take the Dodgers backup starting pitchers and let's do this, and I think that's going to be the interesting dynamic is what does Dave Roberts do? I don't think clearly because of what they have, they're going to be in any hurry to rush Shohei Ohtani back on the mound. We might not ever see Shohei Ohtani pitch again because the Dodgers might not need him. I also think there's a really good chance that when we see Shohei Ohtani pitch again, it's because they've slowly brought him along. They've slowly let him throw. They've slowly let him come back. And oh, by the way, hey, we know it's the 8th inning of the NLCS. Shohei is going to pitch the last 2 innings. I'll Bruce Bochy and Madison Bumgarner, and make your analogies wherever you want to. So they're in a perfect position. I'm going to make one prediction right now. I don't think we see Shohei Ohtani pitch until the late second half of the year at the earliest, and maybe not until the playoffs. They don't need him to pitch. And that, if there's no better descriptor, Mac, of the riches of the Dodgers, if you will, is the fact that Shohei Ohtani, even at 50% of what he used to be as a pitcher, comes out there and they don't need him to pitch. That's how deep this team is. We're not telling you anything you don't know, but I think when you really get into the Dodgers, that's one of the interesting dynamics.
Yeah, I mean, and one thing we have to talk about, let's just say, we know the Dodgers, what they did last year in winning the World Series. I think one thing we haven't really talked about, and it's one of those things, is how did winning the World Series affect them? And what I mean by that is it's a long season, and now, how are they going to play the regular season? I mean, we all know there's one end goal for the Dodgers, and that's to win another World Series. But I think, can we bring up this fact that could they struggle a little bit in this regular season? Just kind of that, championship like hangover, and it just, baseball's such a long year, and it's kind of like, listen, would I be surprised if the D-backs won the West or if the Padres won the West? And people say, oh my gosh, how could you say that? Well, maybe the Dodgers, here's all they care about. They just want to get to the playoffs. I'll use an analogy. I think the Boston Celtics this year for basketball, I think they've kind of done that. I think they've gone through the regular season and just kind of like, okay, the playoffs are coming. They're starting to play better. You start to see that. And I can see that with the Dodgers where, we talk about all these riches that they have. You're right. We may not see Ohtani. We maybe they can rest Snell for a while and not give him some starts. I mean, so it'd be interesting to see what Roberts can do, but it'll be also, like I said, interesting to see if there's a little hangover and they just say, we're just waiting for October.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have the embarrassment of riches, if you will. I mean, I'm really kind of excited and tomorrow night I'm going to have my thoughts on the guy in charge of things, but the Dodgers schedule right out of the gates, and I'm going to go see TJ here very shortly next week as the Sharks and Ducks are playing in SoCal. and one of the things that TJ and I talked about is, hey, do we want to go check out the Dodgers? Well, here's the start of the season for the Dodgers. Detroit and Atlanta at home. Then they're at Philly, they're at Washington. They come back home for the Cubs. And then they have Colorado, which is just put the wins down and give the guys the rest. It's not going to matter there. And then they're at Texas, and then they're back to Chicago. So right out of the chute there, we're going to see them play the Cubs 5 times. We're going to see them play at Texas 3 times. We're going to see them play at Philadelphia really early in the season. They get the Braves. Like, their schedule front-loaded is going to – and everybody, let's call it what it is. Everybody's going to want to watch the Dodgers. The Dodgers are the traveling circus. Road games are going to be sold out. It's going to be 90% Dodger fans, especially in places like Miami, who doesn't care about baseball whatsoever. And again, I'll get to those owners later. But I love how the schedule is front-loaded on the Dodgers because it's going to be really interesting to see them play some good teams early, even with all the guys that they have on the IL and everything. I do like that aspect of what they get out of the chute.
Yeah, I think that's good for them, to, like what I was just saying, not have that hangover from the championship. They need to come out. And I think we have to remember too, as you say, we take a look at last year. It's not like they ran away with the West. I mean, the Padres and D-backs gave them a battle. That last month, it wasn't solidified. They just didn't, have, all of September, to do whatever they wanted. The Padres made a run at them. The D-backs made a run at them. So it wasn't like they just won this thing going away. And as we've talked about with both those teams, they love playing the Dodgers. They don't fear the Dodgers. And so both of those teams, especially the D-backs, have improved. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think this Western Division is going to be a fun division to watch all summer long.
Yeah, and we're not going to have to wait long to see if the Diamondbacks can put a little pressure on the Dodgers because May 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, they're here in Arizona to take on the
Nice.
Diamondbacks pretty early. So another
Yeah.
good early test for the D-backs with their revamped rotation. Let's get into the bullpen here with these Dodgers as far as they're made up this year. And, this is the thing that blows my mind about the Dodgers. Tanner Scott's going to assume the closer role for the Dodgers. But here's what scares me. And we can talk about everything with the starting pitching injuries and the guys they're going to be able, because they're fortunate to be able to work these guys back slowly. You've got a situation here where even when these guys are ready, you only have to have them go 5 innings, if that, because you can roll out in the 6th inning a Kirby Yates, Michael Kopech, Evan Phillips, Blake Trinan, Tanner Scott. Like, you can go 6, 7, 8, 9. You can see 2 of those guys in the same inning. The scariest part about the Dodgers is not their starting pitching. I think their starting pitching, to be honest with you, and we talked about this last night, Mac, with the Phillies, and I know you're not on the exact same page with me. You think they're up there. I think the Phillies have the best starting rotation in all of baseball. I don't know if there's anybody, and I don't even know if it's possible that anybody has the bullpen that the Dodgers do.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, the Dodgers are, and I keep saying it, they're built for a Major League Baseball season. They're built for 162, and what it's starting pitching, it's depth in starting pitching, it's bullpen, it's depth in bullpen. You got guys who can throw from the right side, guys who throw from the left side, guys that throw hard, guys that throw garbage, guys that throw ground balls, guys that get strikeouts. I mean, I kind of joke with it. I mean, I sometimes feel like Dave Roberts is playing a video game, because it's like, you almost, close your eyes and we'll go with this guy. It's like, it doesn't really matter. It's like, you're going to be successful.
Yeah. And, and it's funny. I just mentioned all the guys that I did, and 2 guys that I didn't mention who's been really good for them out of the bullpen, Anthony Banda and
Yes.
Alex Vesia. I mean, that's how deep this bullpen is. And that's what I think more than anything. You can talk about the guys in the lineup, and we're going to do that here in a second. You can talk about the starters. It's the Dodger bullpen that is the most impressive thing to me, at least as we go into a season on paper. And we know, Mac, and from your playing days, being a catcher and understanding the pitching like the way you do, you can start however you want to. It's who's 6, 7, 8, 9. And maybe it's who is the 2 and the 6, who are the 2 and the 7th, who are the 2 and the 8th, who's the guy in the 9th. Well, again, we know the 9th is Tanner Scott's game to lose there. But, I mean, this is a team between Trinan, Scott, Yates, Kopech and even Evan Phillips. You've got 5 closers on one team. Like, that's the thing that blows my mind about the Dodgers.
Yeah, I was actually surprised they didn't go back after Jansen or Craig Kimbrell just to kind of put the cherry on the.
They might not be done.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it's interesting. You say that you wonder if the Dodgers are ever done. If they run into any issues, if they would actually go out and make some moves. But like I said, this is I think it's a fun team to watch, because they are good. And you watch these games, you try to figure out, okay, how can you beat this team? What is it going to take to beat this team? The one person I think in their whole staff that I really want to see, I mean, here's one of the things, is Sasaki. I mean, the little bit that I saw in that game against the Cubs, he looked really good. I mean, like, if I think he looks better than Yamamoto's ever looked. So that's the scary part. I think he could end up being, that a number 1, which is scary as hell.
That a fun nickname for Yamamoto last year, especially at the beginning of the year. Yama Meatballs. We'll see if that one gets to stick, because and again, we've talked about this a lot of the time, especially with the pitchers that come over from Japan and everything else. Like, it's always interesting to see the adjustment period for the pitchers that do come over from Japan and get into their first, major league seasons. Atlanta and San Diego is your first Sunday night game as far as ESPN goes. But then after that, the Dodgers will take one of their rightful places many times this year on Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. So, Mac, let's move over to another side here, unless you're going to interrupt me with another misplaced mound visit.
Well, absolutely. It's our last one. So I've got to go out one more time and just make sure.
I saw it in your eyes. I knew you had one more for me.
All right. So listen, I've thrown you a couple of curveballs. I've thrown you a couple of hard balls, fastballs. I'm going to throw you a softball tonight. All right.
Okay.
I'm all warm and fuzzy because baseball season's starting. I know this is it might be a little bit out of your comfort zone, but here we go.
No, nothing's in my comfort zone right now because a certain
You're
company out here
uncomfortable.
that is similar to Dave Roberts is not doing a job for me. But anyways, I digress.
What is your favorite baseball movie?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was not prepared for this, as I haven't been prepared for any of these. My favorite baseball movie, I mean, obviously The Sandlot jumps off the top of your. I've never, unpopular opinion here, I've never been a Bull Durham fan. The hell was the movie with Keanu Reeves where he coached the team and they went to the ship and it's gonna. I think baseball, honestly, this will be an unpopular opinion, but I'm used to that. I don't know if there's been one baseball movie that I have to watch every single time it's on. Like, there's football movies, there's the Blue Chips for me, example being basketball-wise, Blue Chips, Nick Nolte, Shaq, Penny Hardaway, Ryan Rowe, all that stuff. Like, ironically, how is that related to current basketball days? There's not one baseball movie that jumps out to me. I've never been a Field of Dreams guy. I've never been a Bull Durham guy. There hasn't been a baseball movie that's, oh, this is on, I gotta watch it. I'm sorry. It's not popular, but what's yours though?
Well, first, have you ever been to the Field of Dreams?
No, I have not been able to do that yet.
We went one time. It was just Jen and I, and we got there early in the morning. Like, I'm talking like sunrise, early in the morning. There was nobody there. I can't even put into words how amazing it was. We just threw a ball around for a little bit and walked through the corn, and it was about as surreal a moment as I can tell you for baseball. For me, I mean, I love Bull Durham. Bull Durham's a stopper for me. I love Bull Durham. I love Major League. I just think it's.
I forgot about Major League. I mean, that's up there.
The first one. After
full
that,
disclosure, I'm Google searching right here to jog my memory, and there is one that has come up that I forgot. When it's on, I do watch it all the time. It's Moneyball.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, and I actually grown to like.
That's the thing, though, is like there's not one that jumps off the page to me,
I like the other Kevin Costner one, For the Love of the Game. I've grown to like that movie. I didn't like it at first, but I've watched it so much. I've kind of really grown to love it. Just feels like it's that connection between the pitcher and catcher, and they're just having a moment, and it's a little cheesy, but I kind of enjoy it. But
Summer Catch was another one, but see, that shows the difference in your baseball movies compared to mine. But like, yeah, Moneyball, when it's on, I watch it because, growing up in the Bay Area and around the A's and the Giants, like I did, like I remember that the A's streak. Again, This is why John Fisher is a piece of trash. But, I remember the streak and the Hatteberg homer, and Hardball was the Keanu Reeves movie that I was looking at. Full disclosure, obviously, I have a Google search here up in front of me. But yeah, baseball movies, there hasn't been one that's ever like really just taken me for a run there. So if you got your favorite baseball movie, feel free to comment and follow us on all of our social channels at Mike Arana Show everywhere but Snapchat, because we're not 12 and Snapchat sucks. That was a good question there. That was a good finish for you, man.
Yeah,
I gotta tip the hat I don't have on to you. Let's switch over to the Dodger hitters, which is interesting. And let me say this first and foremost. I really hope that Mookie Betts for the love of the game and for baseball gets through what he's dealing with right now. 23 pounds he lost with this illness that he got just before they went to Tokyo. That's you lose 23 pounds, man. That's something. So I hope that Mookie gets healthy and gets out there, because Mookie Betts, and I know you'll have some thoughts, and I'm going to let you run with this here in a second. Mookie Betts is great for the game of baseball. I can be a Dodger hater, if you will, growing up a Giants fan all I want, but I also appreciate villains in sports and great things in sports, and I love the Dodger-Giant rivalry. I need to see Mookie Betts on the field, and I hope whatever he's dealing with, he gets through that sooner rather than later for the game.
Yeah, you made an interesting point. You talk about, in essence, the villains of baseball. I don't. This Dodger team is actually likable. I mean, there's a lot of likable guys on this team, and like just sometimes you don't have that. I mean, how can you not like Freddie Freeman? You know what I mean? He just seems like a good
Freddie Freeman.
You see what and Mookie Betts and I mean, there's not like one of those guys that you just kind of rubs me the wrong way on this team. I mean, and that's what I said. I actually enjoy watching the Dodgers play because of that. Mookie, it's interesting to me that they have him slated at shortstop. I wish that's the only thing not that he can't play shortstop. I know that he can. He was an infielder by trade. I just wish they decide on a place to put him. The outfield 1 year, second base another year, shortstop another. Just put him in a spot and let him play. That's kind of been a little bit of a tug for me on that. But I mean, this Dodger lineup is pretty good. I mean, we saw what Teoscar Hernandez brings to this team. We know what Ohtani can do. The top 2/3 of this lineup is really, really stacked, as good as any in baseball. It actually falls off a little bit. Michael Conforto. It'll be interesting to see what he does. I mean, there's no pressure on him. I mean, you got all this power and speed and greatness in front of you. So maybe this will be a good spot for him to kind of relax and kind of maybe really kind of reach a little bit more of his potential.
Yeah, I mean, there is one guy that's not likable for me from a personal standpoint on the Dodgers, and that's Max Muncy, because he's a certified San Francisco Giant killer.
Right.
Max Muncy, anytime that it's been close to maybe he's available or possibly a trade guy, I've always been like, you know what, San Francisco, do whatever the hell you have to. Give him $500 million, because I can't watch this guy kill the Giants anymore. There's a guy in the Dodger lineup, and I want to get your take on this, because, again, we can go through the top to bottom when everybody's healthy. We should be looking at Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Teo Hernandez, Max Muncy, Will Smith, Michael Conforto, who I think a lot of people just forgot the Dodgers signed in the midst of everything they were doing, Tommy Edman, and Andy Paez, who has started the year in center field. We'll see how that develops as we go. I think on July 29th last year, the Dodgers did something that was very under the radar, not talked about, not given high regards, because his name isn't Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Kershaw, Snell. You can go through the names. I think the acquisition of Tommy Edman last year, and we saw it in the National League Championship Series, how important he was. Tommy Edman's ability to play a lot of different positions for the Dodgers. I think Tommy Edman, out of all of these guys, is the ultimate wild card for the Dodgers, because he can play everywhere and he's in a lineup where he's not expected. We've talked about the Cardinals and how they have no direction right now. I think that pickup of Tommy Edman will go over the next couple of seasons, because now he's got a new deal with the Dodgers. I think the pickup of Tommy Edman might have been the best pickup in all of baseball last year.
Yeah, because that was kind of a spot, for whatever reason, second base was kind of a spot that was just kind of a little bit of a thorn for the Dodgers last year. And then, the other thing is, while we're talking about the other guy that I actually love that he's a Dodger, because he just belongs to be a Dodger, and that's Kike Hernandez. He's another one that just exemplifies what being a Dodger actually is, and he fits he fits that role. I mean, you never know what glove he's going to have on what night. And so, again, it just kind of shows you that that kind of team that the Dodgers has. But I think you're right. It was a really good signing to get Edmonds and keep him. And just, again, these guys at the bottom half of the lineup don't have to do a whole lot. Catch the ball, throw the ball, don't make mistakes, and you're going to get your opportunities with this Dodgers lineup.
All right, I'm going to throw you a curveball here real quick.
Here we go.
As we break down the Dodgers, however you can break down the Dodgers. What is, and obviously we're going to do our season preview show tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
What is the makeup of the team in a 7-game series that can beat this Dodger team? And let's assume that the key players on the Dodgers are all available. What is the makeup? Who has a chance to stop the Dodgers from getting to the World Series? What is it going to take? What kind of team? What do you have to do to beat the Dodgers?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to start on the mound. I mean, that's where it is. You've got to have a team that's going to have the start. Once you get to the playoffs, your rotation goes down to about 3 guys.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got to have those top 3 pitchers that can sustain and get you through that lineup 2 or 3 times. You've got to get into that 5th or 6th inning is what you're looking for. So that's what you need. You need a team that has starting pitching that's going to be strong enough to get you in there. They've got to have a good bullpen. And I think they've got to have a lineup that is got to be able to make the Dodger pitchers work. Try to get to that bullpen early. You go back a couple years ago, how did the D-backs beat the Dodgers? They beat up on their pitching staff early is what they did. They got those runs early. Get to that bullpen early. Make those guys go. And I mean, again, that's the success. That's the way to beat the Dodgers in those short series. You got to get to them early. You got to get to that bullpen early. And you just got to be relentless. You got to have an offense that's going to be relentless. We saw with the Padres last year. The Padres for the first couple of games, that's exactly how they beat the Dodgers. They were relentless, right? Offensively, they put up great numbers. They pitched great. And then what happened? I don't think they scored another run the rest of the series. That was it. Their bats went to sleep. It can't be that way. I mean, you got to.
The Padres definitely needed a little bit of Joe Boo's rum and hats for bats at the end of that series for sure. All right.
Yeah.
You know what time it is. It's the last time we get to do this.
Your last few bucks.
$100 as Mack makes me homeless and broke here or makes me a rich man. $100 of my money on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, we know that we don't need to give some of these numbers, but I'm going to give them all to you. This was literally as we were getting ready to go on the air here. And some of these numbers are ridiculous. The Dodgers to win the National League West are a -500.
Okay.
To win the National League pennant, they are the favorites at a +170. To win the World Series, they are also the favorites at a +290. So I'm going to give you the over/under in a second. For the Dodgers to make or to miss the playoffs, to make the playoffs. Sorry, these numbers are so baffling; it's throwing me off. For the Dodgers to make the playoffs, it's a -2,500. For the Dodgers to miss the playoffs, it's a +1,300, so 13-1. And I'm going to give you a couple more before I give you the over/under total here. MVP, Shohei Ohtani, is the favorite in the National League at a +170. To win the Cy Young, Blake Snell is not the favorite, but he's high up there at +1,000. The over/under win total on the Dodgers, according to this book that I'm not going to mention because they don't pay our bills, sponsorship opportunities are available always, is 103.5. That's a lot. Take a second. So tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, on our Facebook and YouTube channels only. We will have our season preview show. We will give you our division winners, our MVPs, our Cy Youngs, our World Series champions. Follow us on all of our social channels at Mike Arana Show. We've got some exciting things coming up. Obviously, we're in the midst of March Madness here. Mack and I are going to break that down as we get into Thursday and Friday for the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight. And like I said, there's some exciting things coming down the pike. Can't wait to tell you about them. All right, Mack, you got that $100 of my money with the Dodgers. What are you going to do with it?
You know, my initial thought was to go and just, you know, we had to have a Hollywood ending here. I was going to say put the $100 on to miss the playoffs, but I just don't think that's going to happen.
It's a great payout, but it's more likely that I pitch for the Dodgers this year than that happens.
Right.
So.
I think that win total's high. I'm going to say under 103.5. You said, right? That's
103.5.
No,
Under's a plus 105. Over is a minus 125.
Yeah,
so you got decent value on the under.
I'm going to take the under on that. I just think, not that the Dodgers can't. I just think they're going to sleepwalk through part of the year. I think the West is better. I think the National League is a little bit better. I mean, I think there are 4 really good teams in the East. I love your Washington Nationals.
Apparently, it's all Washington because I was all over the Commanders this year, and everybody called me an idiot. So,
and I mean, the West is we talked about the West. The West is going to be funky, and you know the Central's the Central. But I that total seems high to me. I mean, Dodgers are going to be all right, but that seems a little high.
Yeah, you know, and I'm glad you brought that up because that makes me think of something. And you've mentioned this about the Celtics. And obviously I've seen it, you know, watching the Warriors as long as I have. And we see it with all kinds of teams. Defending champs, oftentimes, this is a stone cold Mike Arana show, Mike Lock guarantee. The second the Dodgers lose 3 games in a row, every network's going to be like, what do the Dodgers need? What are they missing? But you see that a lot of times. You see teams sleepwalk, and it's not that they want to. It's just they know they can turn it on at any time. And when you have literally the All-Star game this year could be the Dodgers versus the rest of baseball. I mean, that's what we have here. It's great for baseball. It's great for sports when we have villains. But remember, if the Dodgers lose 3 games this year, this show is not going to ever put out a video that goes, what's wrong with the Dodgers? Who do they need to get? Because it's going to happen. Baseball's a long-ass season. It happens. The Dodgers very likely will have a 3-game losing streak. With the makeup of their schedule this year, they could have a 3-game losing streak while these guys are getting healthy early in the season. We're not going to put out content that goes, what's wrong with the Dodgers? Because we don't do that shit. And that's what it is. It's shit. So tomorrow night, our season preview show, we're going to go through every division, give you our Cy Youngs, our MVPs. We're going to post the graphic of it so you guys can ridicule the absolute shit out of us because we're probably all going to be wrong. Our brackets, absolute implosion in March Madness. But hey, this is what we think, and this is why. That's what makes sports fun. You make your predictions. You make your guesses. Final thoughts, Mack, on the Dodgers before we get up on out of here and go to our season preview show.
I'll tell you, it's like I said, the Dodgers are going to be all right. They're going to be a fun team to watch. We hope Mookie Betts gets better. This is just, like I said, my biggest thing is I want to see what Sasaki can do in a full season. But before I go, I want to say, Mike, this has been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed doing this every day with you. I hope everybody who's watched has enjoyed and gotten something out of this. This is the first time we really sat down and broke down every team like this, and it was just a lot of fun. And you know what? It's going to be bigger and better next year.
You actually enjoy spending time with me more than my fiance does, and I don't blame her because I'm a colossal idiot all the time. It has been fun, and you're going to see more of us live, obviously on our social channels. We've got tomorrow. We've got the face off. We've got another check in on March Madness before we break down the Sweet 16 day by day. We've got Mike versus Mack, which is tight in the golf world right now, 54-53 as we close in on our final stage. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. So those of you that have been on the journey with us from the start, we appreciate the hell out of you. We couldn't do this without you guys coming in here, and come in here and tell us we're wrong. Sports are fun when we get to debate about stuff and we have our passions and we do our thing. So you're going to see more of these. You're going to see us preview the Stanley Cup playoffs. We're going to break down golf because we're a bunch of golf nerds on this show. A lot of fun stuff coming on. So we're going to take a little bit of a break here after our preview show tomorrow. Get rested up, get ready for the playoffs in the hockey season, in the basketball season. Get ready for the Final Four in San Antonio. We appreciate you guys, and sincerely, tell your friends, tag a friend. You guys that have been with us from day one on this ride, you the real ones. You the real MVP. You know what I'm saying? For Vegas Mac, for TJ, for everybody behind the scenes, including our awesome graphics guy whose name I can't say because he gets pissed when I do. We will talk to you tomorrow, and we'll talk with you soon. Follow us at Mike Arana Show on all of our social channels. For Vegas Mac, my baseball co-pilot, I'm Mike. You know what's coming next.